Hello Y10s, today's lesson is revision on index laws. Now if I gave you say 2 to the power of 5, what do we call the 2 and what do we call the 5? Do you remember? Well, the 2 is called the base and the 5 is called the index. What's another word that you could have told me instead of the index? You might have perhaps thought of exponent. What else could you perhaps have thought of? Maybe power. So all of those terms are interchangeable. Now, could you please open your journals and write down the title, which is Index Laws, and then we are going to copy down, you're going to copy down all of these index laws. And hopefully you'll remember them. And if not, well, we just revise them now. So the first one, you'll notice that A is the base, and it's the same base in both cases. So what we do is you add the exponents, so m plus n. Next one, when we're dividing, when you have a fraction in this case, if you recall from last year, it's a to the m minus n. Next one, what do we do with those exponents? Do you recall? What we do is we multiply them, so we have m times n. Next one, what do we do here? It's a to the power of n followed by b to the n. Next one, when you have a fraction, it's the numerator to the power of n over the denominator to the power of n. And last one, anything to the 0 is equal to 1, except when a is 0. If you type in your calculator 0 to the 0, you'll notice that there's an error there. Okay, let's get some examples done. This one now. Oh, sorry. Feel free to just pause the video and then when you're ready, we move on to the next one. So in this one here, we have to simplify by using the index laws. So what we notice is there's a multiplication, and off we go. Don't forget to put equal signs, please. So 5 times 2 is 10. I'm going to write this one as it is, so a to the 4, b, and now I'm going to deal with this part here. So we have a to the power of 4, followed by b to the 3, so b cubed to the power of 4. Let's continue. We have 10a to the 4. Let's combine these. So we have 4 plus 4 is 8. So we have a to the 8. Then we have this b that we had there, followed by b to the 3 times 4 is 12. Now there's no number here. Sorry, we haven't written a number. But if there was, if you were going to write it, it's a 1. Let's continue. We have 10a to the 8, followed by b to the 1 plus 12 is 13. Now, always, whenever I do a question, I always check it with my calculator, because we always can make silly mistakes, and I always like checking to make sure that I've got it right. And hopefully, you'll do it too. So, could you please now get your calculators, and if you don't have it handy, just press pause, go and get it, and come back, please. So in your calculator, you go to the menu screen, and go to the normal calculator that we always use. Now what we're going to do is, we are going to type in that as we see it. But before we do that, we are going to give a and b some random values other than 1 or 0. In my case, I have chosen 8 to be the number A, and I'm choosing another one to be the number B. Now, please, you choose whatever number you like for your A. So type in your number, followed by the arrow here. And to put the letter A, you notice that, let me change the pen color. A is over here. And to get this A, we need to use the alpha button. So you type in your number, followed by the arrow. Please press the alpha, and then you press the A. And you should get this on your screen. And then you have to press the execute button, and you'll get your number appearing here. Now repeat for B. You choose your random value for B. And now we're going to type in exactly what we had at the start there. Type it in. Please press pause if you have to. And then press execute, like I've done there. Now, you will get different numbers if you haven't used 8 and 3 for your values of A and B, and that's okay. Perfectly acceptable. You'd expect that. Now, this particular number that I've got there, I don't really care that much about it. What I do care is that when I type in this as my next step, I will get the same number. So I type my result, I press execute, and it's very good to see that we have the same value appearing here, which is our original case, and there, which is our answer. Now, if you're wondering, what does that mean? Little reminder, this means, say, 2.67, I'm not going to write the whole thing down, but this e to the 14 means times 10 to the power of 14. Okay, now there's another way you can check your answer. And to do that, again, you type in random values for A and random values for B. Doesn't matter what they are. Our next step is you type in exactly what we had here at the start, but this time, after that, we do not press execute. We are going to press the equal sign. Now for the equal sign, we have to press shift and dot, shift point. So we do that, and now we type in our answer. If you like to do that, please do it, press pause, and come back to it. Once you've typed that in, you press execute, and if you get the number 1, the calculator is telling you that this statement is true. Okay, now let's suppose that we made a mistake. Let's say that I made a little mistake here, and instead of putting 13, I wrote down 12 as my answer. Now notice that when I press execute at this step here, when I press execute here, the calculator is telling me 0, which means it's false. So that's a way for you to check your answers. Now let's continue now. We have to simplify this one. So 5 over 10, hopefully you'll tell me that's a half. We have x to the power of 21, and we have, x is a 1. 21 minus 1, 20. And now with the y's, we could do it the long way. We would have y to the 1 minus 1. 1 minus 1 is 0. Y to the 0 is 1. So we have all of this times 1, which becomes that. Yep, we can do that. Or we can simply say, look, there's a y in the numerator, y in the denominator. Let's cancel them out. And here's our answer. Another way to write this answer, if you like, let me change the color because to stop here is perfectly acceptable. Another way that you would perhaps express it, you could express it, is x to the 20 over 2, and that's acceptable as well. Let's continue here. Now, whenever you have brackets, please simplify what's inside the brackets before you do anything next. So ask yourself, can you simplify what's inside the brackets? And the answer is yes. We have x to the 10 and we have x to the 8. Well, let's simplify that first. So we have, we have 4 there. X to the power of, what's 10 minus 8? That's 2. We have 5. Y to the 7 followed by z. Now notice my z. I'm putting a dash through it, a line through it, so it doesn't look like a 2. Let's continue now. We have 4x squared, all of it squared, over 5, y to the 7, z, all of it squared. Let's continue. 4 squared, I write it down, 4 squared. Now, I could write down x squared, or I could simply just do it in my head. 2 times 2 is 4. I'm going to write it down there. Next one, we have 5 squared. We have y to the 7 squared. That means it's y to the 14, followed by z squared. And let's do one more. 4 squared is 16. So we have 16 x to the 4. 5 squared is 25. And write the other ones there. Done. Okay, now here we have the next one. Now I recommend that whenever you see a division and we're doing something involving variables, write it as a fraction instead. So we have the first part appearing as the numerator, and the next part, let's write it as a fraction. So we have this. Now let's do this. We have the numerator which doesn't change, over. Now 3 to the power of 3. I'm going to write it down, 3 to the power of 3, followed by x to the power of 3. Now what would y be? Y to the power of 3 times 3 is 9. Okay. Now before I even do 3 cubed, the question is, can I simplify 12 over 3 cubed? And yes, 12, what is 12 equal to? Yeah, this is equal to 2 times 6, it's equal to 1 times 12, but more importantly, it's equal to 4 times 3. I'm going to write it like that, 4 times 3. Next one. Now, that 3 to the cubed I was talking to you about, I'm going to leave it like that. And now, let's focus on the x's. I have x to the 10 over x to the 3. Well, it is x to the 7, followed by, we have y to the 25 minus 16. Now let's focus on the 4 times 3 part, and more specifically, the 3's. So we end up with 4 over 3. That was a 1 there. Can we cancel anything out? Oh, yes we can. We end up with 3 squared down here. X to the 7, y to the 16. Now what is 3 squared? It's equal to 9. So we have 4 over 9, x to the 7, y to the 16. And our next one now. Have a look at this one. Doesn't it look nice? Beautiful, you might say. Well, no, it doesn't. Now, the horrible part is that part there. But don't let that scare you, because it's been raised to the power of 0. And what is anything to the power of 0? It's 1. Well, it's not so bad after all now. Let's go. What is this part equal to? X to the 0. Well, that's 1. Let's write it down. We have plus. Now, all of this to the power of 0 is simply 1. Followed by x times, what's that equal to? 1. All right, not so bad after all. Let's go. 6 times 1 is 6, plus 1, 7, minus x times 1, simply x. Okay, now it's up to you if you like to copy these down in your journal. What I would like you to do for sure is do these questions in your exercise book, please.